Hi everyone, welcome back to Railway Cottage Studio. I was just down here in my little studio working away on my map for my Rabbit Vintage Stitches journal, and I thought I would actually hop on so you can see where I'm up to. I've started with this map. Let me just have a look. I started with some old cotton that I've just tea-dyed and torn, so it's all raggedy and lovely, and I've just made a bit of a mud map of where we went on our little trip, and it's not even remotely in the right order. Sorry, the boys are making a catio outside, so I've got a bit of angle grinding going on. So it's just little places that Mum and I went to on our little trip. We got Sydney, Bowral, Mossvale, Robertson and Mittagong, and I don't even think they're in the right order. So I've just done this little very rough mud map with one of my friction pens, and I'm just stitching it all now in brown. So the idea of this is that it will sit in my journal. Let me show you what the plan is. Not sure where yet. Perhaps, let's have a look. Just for example, maybe here. And it will fold out. So I'm not sure if I'll roll it. I'm going to put something on the back. And it'll sit here and it will fold out or roll out or fold out and probably get squashed. So I thought I would just jump on and you could stitch with me for a little bit. So I have been really inspired by a lady online, a French lady, Madam Dubocage. I'll link her in the description below, and also there's an English artist called Etka Kaul, K-A-U-L. I'm not sure if she has a YouTube channel, but she's a very well-known British embroiderer, and she makes the most fabulous embroidered maps. So I've been a bit inspired by both of those ladies, but I'm hoping that this has got my own twist on it. So I've just put some of the things that were memorable about our trip. You know, obviously the different trees, and I've got some tulips here for Bowral. Got a couple little bunnies. I just traced a little bunny on my phone so that I could give a bit of an outline. So I've got a bunny there and a bunny there. Some tulips, just some little houses with chimneys, all the hills, of course, in the Southern Highlands. Some different trees, some pines and things, and then I'll do the little green door over here. So this is what I am working on at the moment for my little Vintage Stitches journal. How are you? I actually was off work today. My mum had a fall, and so I had to go and help her today and make sure she was okay. But she's all right, so back to work tomorrow. Where are we? We're up to week 3 in a 10-week term for term 4. And in Australia we have our big break at the end of the year because that's our summer. So at the end of that we have 4.5 weeks holiday. And then we go back at the end of January next year. So we have 4 10-week terms, and which is nice. It makes it nice and balanced throughout the year. And our summer break is a little bit longer. So this term tends to fly by very quickly, as it's the term that everything happens, you know, all the end of year stuff. That is probably the same wherever you are in the world. But I'm chipping away on my little projects. My rabbit journal's coming together really nicely. It's been so lovely to learn some new things with these Inktense pencils that I've been playing with. And thanks to everyone who's given me some tips and tricks, as I am absolutely a novice with this. And someone asked me, did I draw? No, I absolutely did not draw the iris or the snowdrops. I used an iron-on transfer because my drawing skills are non-existent. I can trace and I can colour in, but just goes to show you don't have to be good at either. You don't have to be very good at art to be able to make something pretty with those. So they're very, very forgiving. So you can see I've deviated a little bit from the drawing here, but just because it was a bit close once I actually started to stitch. So I debated with Mum about whether I should do this all in one colour or in different colours, and she said all in one. So if I don't like it, I'm going to blame you, Mum. Yeah, so this little project's been a lovely little fun place to just, you know, play and stitch. I'll do a bit of stitching, then I'll show you what I've done so far in my little book. It's turned into, like, it is a travel journal, but it's also, you know, I'm trying a few different things in there, some things I haven't tried before, and just learning as I go, and it's very much no rules, which is the sort of stitching that I like. So, you know, give yourself permission to try something new, test something new, and if you don't like it, don't use it. It took me a little while to sort my iris out, as you know, if you were here for the iris journey. I've learned a lot about those intense pencils, about using, you know, too much water or too little water, and I've kind of got it a lot more of an understanding of them now. And they're actually awesome. They're really good. And they're very, as I said, they're very, very forgiving. So excuse the handyman sounds in the background. The boys are building a catio for my son's window so his little cat can go out and sit outside in the sun. So yeah, let me show you my iris, how it ended up. Where is it? Now I did my iris on, where is he? Must be here somewhere. Where are you, fellow? I think I'd find it, hey. So let's start at the beginning. Let's do this. So this is my voyage page. There's my ribbon. There's our trip. Mum and I going off to Randwick instead of Rose Hill. It's our little cottage. A little rabbit pocket. I haven't put anything in there yet. All the beautiful little houses with chimneys. This is my spoon that my brother found, my souvenir spoon. And then these are the fabulous French stamps that I got at Dirty Jane's. Dirty Jane's was a treat. It's probably good that we're on a plane because that restricted what we could get. Haven't done anything here yet. I've just done a bit of playing around with the French stamps. So I've just done them on some of this cross-stitch stuff, and I'm going to tea dye that and just see how I like it. This is my Robertson page. Again, that's my surname. So that's the tartan and whatever. Here's my iris. So my iris started out like this one. This was my iris 2.0, and you can see how it's bled around. So what I tried to do with this one is I tea dyed it, and then I used some of the brown pencil and white pencil to blend that out a bit. I've since learnt how to avoid that by using a medium, etc. But I actually don't mind it. I've come to live with it. So then I've done a few layers on here, and then I've beaten it up a bit. And it actually did rip. I didn't mean to rip it, but I've just leant into that and have sewn it together like it's, you know, a beautiful old damaged textile. And again, I did not draw this. This was one of these guys. Look, an iron-on transfer. Here it is, right there. And these came out of a book that I picked up at Vinnie's. This is a roses one. These were $2, and they're so good. Like, they really have held their colour. I think I've got about 4. I've been able to iron on 4 different outlines quite easily. It's starting to run out now, but I'll make a template out of some acrylic. So that's my iris, and then I did the same thing. Let me just show you what I've done. Here I've just made a little frame, and this is a piece of fabric that Mum gave me that I absolutely love. And some of these fabrics were what we picked up in Bowral or at the sewing basket in Sydney. And then I've just put this beautiful, again, this fabric came from Mum, one of my favourite toiles. Done nothing here. I've just started to stitch this as well. This is just all the beautiful gardens that we picked up. I got this beautiful trim from somewhere. Where did I get that from? From the sewing basket, I think. Still working on that page, and then at the back I've done my snowdrops, and again this was an iron-on transfer, and I've just used my Inktense pencils in 2 greens and a white to colour them in. So I quite like that. I was thinking I might do some more stitching, but I think I'll just leave it so far. So that is my little journal so far. That bit goes under there. It's getting very fat, as you can see. I've just been adding some stitching around the edge as I feel like it. I've just done a bit here which I'll have to stain down. And I've got some wools out here to do some more a bit later. But let's go back to the map. So again, Madam Dubocage, I don't know how to say her name, I'm sorry if that's terribly wrong. And she has a wonderful Instagram account. It's very, very inspiring. She does lots of really interesting one-off sort of wall hangings and little pieces. I'm not even sure how to describe them. So go and look her up. And she does her villages sort of on a different coloured. So if this was her village, she'd have that on a different coloured piece of textile and then stitched all around to create like a border, which looks really great. So you can see I'm just going to literally go over all of my drawing and then I'm going to iron it, and then these friction pens come right off. And I did see all the hullabaloo about these pens not coming out, or they come out again in the sun, but obviously that does not concern me with how I use them. I don't think I'm going to go stand in the sun with my book. So I'm just going to do, and again, very simple stitches because I am a very basic embroiderer, very, very basic. I do a straight stitch, a lazy daisy, a back stitch, whip stitch, and really that's probably all. So I look at these beautifully embroidered things, I think, well, that's not my skill. Quite often I'll see something that I want to learn and then I'll go and learn that particular little stitch, but most of my work is very, very naive or basic looking, so I can get away with a couple of stitches. So again, you don't have to be, someone who has a lot of experience or a lot of skill stitching to do stitcheries. And you can see that as I'm doing this, I'm having to just adjust it because my thread is quite big, and I drew quite small. So I'm just going to adjust it as I go so that everything's not too crammed together. So how's your little journal going? Have you made one? Quite a few people have made one, which is lovely. Just give yourself permission to play in it. Somebody said, what's a journal for? I said, well, it could be for anything, really. It could be Fiona in New Zealand, Little Red Hoop. She's made hers into a special type of book. Whose name I can't remember now, Fiona. And it's for keeping samples of fabric, fabulous fabric. And so she's used hers for a really different idea, and it looks awesome because obviously it's full of beautiful fabrics. Some people use it just as a like a sketchbook, but for drawing and but for textiles, for little collages and things, which is kind of what mine is, but mine have just been linked to our little trip. So I'm trying to try some new things while making my little journal about our trip. Geez, I'm having trouble seeing that. Dark, there we go. Dark threads, this is your idea, Mum. And symmetry is never my goal. In case you're thinking, gee whiz, that's really crooked. I might just zoom you in a little bit. Let's have a look. There we go. Symmetry is never the goal. Is that straight? And I like to embrace mistakes. I think if you make a mistake, particularly while you're learning something new, just don't throw it away. Go, okay, because some of the things I like the most have happened when I've had to become creative to fix an error, fix something that I didn't necessarily like. So imagine this stitchery is going to take me a little bit. Okay, first bit's done. So I've got Sydney, I've got my plane. I should do a little quilt over here for the quilt show, shouldn't I? I think I might do this little hill next. Probably just because it's a straight line and it will be quicker. And again, I don't do very small stitches. It's very inconsistent. It's meant to be fun, not a test. I've always loved maps. I've got quite a collection of atlases that I've picked up over the years from op shops. I haven't made a junk journal for a while, but I feel one in the very near future. I've got some really lovely atlas pages that I've already made ages ago, ready to stitch into a junk journal. Maps and boat scenes seems to be the things that I really like. I don't know why. Don't like boats at all, actually. Don't like being on them. Get very seasick. I've tried many types of boats, from canal boats in the UK to sailing around the Greek islands, and without fail, to cruise ships out of Brisbane, without fail, yeah, sick as a dog. I might just come down so. I think this one should, do you think it should meet like that? Yeah. You can see this is very basic. Like I literally have drawn some curvy hills and some little birds, traced a couple of little bunnies, because we did see a couple of bunnies down there. And again, they're not even in the right order, so it's in no way represents a map. Very, very basic stitching. So what are you working on? I see a lot of people have soldiered on with Christmas stuff. And I have to say, look, I'm going to say it, I don't do a lot of Christmas stuff. I don't do a lot. I'll do a couple of little things. This year is the first year in a long time that we have little people for Christmas, so I'll do a couple of things, but Christmas is fairly low-key in my family. My parents were, when I was growing up, my parents were in a band, and so they always played on Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day was usually spent waiting for them to wake up because they'd gotten home at like 4 in the morning or something. So we always had pretty quiet Christmases. We had big Christmases when my kids were little, but now we have little Wilhelmina. So all of a sudden we have a little person at Christmas. It kind of revives it all, doesn't it? But so I don't make a lot of things. I'm seeing some beautiful, Corinna's made a beautiful table runner on her To Be Loved Treasures, and I think Dawn's done one as well. I'm just going to do, where am I here? It's good. I'm happy with the all brown because you know how I feel about brown. Just putting in some really simple things. What do you think so far? It's good. Need another little duva here. Not that I want it balanced or symmetrical. Do one here. And then I might need to change my thread. At the moment I'm not worrying about the back because I'll cover the back with some type of fabric. Maybe even, I don't have a lot of map fabric. I have a new Tim Holtz fabric, but it's more of an atlas. But I'll have a look, it might work. Be nice to have the back of this to cover in an old vintagey map fabric. Let's cut him off and have a look. Okay, that's looking really good. If I don't run out of brown, that's a bit of a concern. Do I have my light on? Yeah, I do. Feels a bit dark in here because I have the back door closed. I have the aircon on, and because I have 2 blokes out the back building stuff. Someone asked me to show them that. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was. If you had, I'm not sure how to do that quick tie of the needle. It's really simple. Thread your needle, hold the other end. I always just hold it against my needle and put it round twice, 1, 2, and then just hold that firmly where you've twisted it and pull it all the way to the end, and you will get a knot. And if your knot falls out, you're just not holding it firmly enough. All right, let's go over here. I want to finish as I go, so I'll finish one part completely and then move across. Otherwise I run the risk of losing interest and never coming back and finishing it. So again, these are just random little bits of grass, I guess, that I've done here. As I said, Etka Kaul does the most fabulous, she's got a couple of books, her maps, like she actually works from real maps as well, like she's done ones of like big national parks, and she's done one like of the Tube, etc. So she actually does a lot of commissions for people, I guess, for important, you know, things that are important to them. And her work's beautiful. She's very well known in the UK. And once you've seen her work, you know it straight away when you see it because it's very distinctive. She's very tidy. And like I said, her maps are quite often accurate. But also very attractive and stylized and pretty. She uses a lot of black and green. Okay, these are kind of going to be pine trees, you know, the big pine trees down there. We don't have them here. Alrighty. And that is pine tree number 1. So I've caught up on my Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. The new prompt came out last night, which is vintage textile. So I'm going to choose something very special for my vintage textile. As Rachel said, probably a lot of us, most of the project is vintage textile, so it needs to be like the vintage textile, not a vintage textile, I think. So I'm going to have a look through and find something really special and distinctive. I haven't thought about that yet because I got excited doing a map. So hopefully I'll get this done in the next night or two, and then I can work on gathered things. I finished Gary. I don't know if you've seen, I've been making a repro quilt. While we were away, Mum found a picture in one of the books in an op shop. She bought a magazine and found a really nice repro quilt that we've made. She messaged me the other day and said, what should we call this quilt? So we've decided on Gary. So it's a bit random, but he's up on the wall. I just have got to do, everything's done actually. I've done the sashing, I've done it's all done on the machine. You forget how quickly quilts are made on a machine when you do a lot of handwork. Literally a day and a half. So he's ready to go. I just need to, I've got a backing for him. I've got the most beautiful brown twill to back him with. He's ready to start hand quilting then. So that'll take me a while because he's big, he's queen size. But I'm going to do big fat stitches like this. Not close like Cantha, but I'm going to do hand quilting, but with a crochet cotton. That's my plan anyway. So with these stitches, I'm trying not to be even. I'm trying to be, sometimes if you forget what you're doing and get into a rhythm, like accidentally start being straight, which I don't want. I don't want to be straight because then it doesn't work for me because I'm not straight enough, you know. So trying to make sure I do different length stitches. Every now and then there's a little gap. I think I want, what hill do I want here? Let me have a look. A bit of heel action, that's wrong. I think I might just go there. Let's just choose one. Where did I go? I just don't want it to echo this one. It needs to be a bit different. So I'm going to go up higher, I think. So I didn't get home from Mum's till about 4:30 today, so I've had a little bit of time to do a bit of stitching, which is really nice, bit of a bonus. I'm kind of just winging this now. Nice and tight. And obviously you could use an embroidery hoop. I'm not an embroidery hoop person. I did try it for a couple of my things. I find it really slow. And I like the bumps. I like it when it's a bit lumpy, which obviously is a personal preference. A lot of people probably spend a lot of time making sure it's not lumpy bumpy. Okay, raise up there. Nice. Just a few little bits of something. I guess they're like shading, really, just to give it a bit of interest so it's not really boring. Down a bit. Okay, that's good. Now here, this one. Up and over. So hopefully, where are we up to? 26 minutes. I'm probably going to finish in a minute, just finish filming. I've got some jobs to do. But hopefully when I see you next, I'll have finished this little guy and I'll have come up with a plan for how to put him into my stitches journal. And whether he's going to unroll or fold or what he's going to do. But given that it's a book, it's going to be flat, so probably fold him. And just how that's going to work. I haven't really thought about that yet. Kind of need to finish it first and then have a play. I'm going to finish my heel. And this pen, these pens are so good because when you iron it, it just disappears. All this pen will just disappear. I have missed this little bit of grass here, which looks very important. I'm going to go back and do that. I'm not worried about the back again because it's going to be just covered. I might just iron it and show you how this disappears, and then I might sign off. Just do a little bit there so it looks like grass, sort of, kind of. So all of that bit is done, except I've pulled that too tight, can you see? So stay there, I'm just going to iron it and I'll show you what happens. My iron turn itself off. Oh, I like all the brown. I wasn't sure, maybe Mum was right. Who knew? I'm just waiting for my iron to heat up now. Here it comes. Just all disappears. It's so good. It's like a magic eraser. Oh, look at that. So just by ironing it, it's all disappeared. So look how good that looks. I'm really happy with that. Thanks so much for popping in. I'll see you on the other side and we'll figure out how to put this into my beautiful journal.